Welcome to Duo Reads, where we decode deep ideas and break down big books one page at a time. Today, we're diving into a manifesto that packs a powerful punch. Steven Pressfield's Do the Work. Overcome resistance and get out of your own way. Our mission is to extract the most vital insights from this book to help you, our listener, understand the forces that hold you back from your creative projects and, more importantly, how to decisively move past them to achieve your goals.
Exactly. Pressfield approaches the creative process not just as developing a skill, but really as a battle, a fight. He gives us a clear playbook for navigating those moments of fear, self-sabotage, and procrastination that are, frankly, pretty much inevitable for anyone trying to bring something new into the world.
It's like if you've ever felt utterly stuck, like there's this invisible force actively trying to stop you from starting or finishing something really important to you, then this exploration of his work is absolutely for you. We're going to unpack his powerful insights on identifying your hidden enemies, enlisting your surprising allies, and most crucially, just getting the actual work done. Okay, let's start with the central concept Pressfield introduces: resistance. He describes it as the primary force arrayed against us. What does he really mean by that?
Well, resistance is sort of an overarching term for a whole host of internal roadblocks. Things like fear, self-doubt, procrastination, addiction, distraction, timidity, ego, self-loathing, perfectionism, you name it. He truly frames it as a monster on the field of the self. And you, the creator, you're the knight setting out to conquer it.
Wow, that's so true. It's incredible how broad that definition is. It seems to cover so much. What specific areas does Pressfield say resistance targets most often?
Oh, he gives a really extensive list, which highlights how universal it is. It targets creative arts, obviously writing, painting, music, but also any entrepreneurial venture, health regimens.
Like a dieter trying to stick to the gym.
Exactly. Even something seemingly simple like that. It also hits spiritual advancement, acts of political or ethical courage, efforts to help others. And even, emotional commitments like marriage or getting through a rocky patch in a relationship. Basically, any act that rejects immediate gratification in favor of long-term growth, or anything that comes from our higher nature, as he puts it, that's where resistance shows up.
And Pressfield describes resistance with some really potent characteristics: invisible, insidious, impersonal, and infallible. Could you walk us through what each of those truly means for someone trying to do the work?
Absolutely. These characteristics are key to understanding how it operates. First, invisible. You can't see, hear, or touch it, but you feel it. It's like an energy field, a negative repelling force pushing you away. Then, insidious. This is where it gets tricky. It will lie, fabricate, seduce, bully, whatever it takes. Pressfield says it assumes any form to deceive you, like a slick lawyer or a stick-up man. It has absolutely no conscience. It just lies.
Right, so it's manipulative.
Totally. Then, impersonal. It's not out to get you personally. It doesn't know who you are, doesn't care. It's just a force of nature operating with the indifference of rain. It simply is.
That's almost comforting in a weird way. It's not personal failure.
Exactly. And finally, infallible. This is a crucial insight. Like a magnetized needle, resistance always points to true north, which means it points directly to the calling or action it most wants to stop you from doing.
Okay.
So the more important an action is to your soul's evolution, the more resistance you will feel. We can actually use it like a compass.
So it guides you towards what matters most. That's powerful.
It really is, instead of just seeing it as a barrier.
But resistance isn't the only enemy, right? Pressfield identifies others.
That's right. Next to resistance, he flags rational thought as a major enemy, especially for artists and entrepreneurs.
Rational thought. But isn't that usually good?
Well, rational thought coming from the ego can hinder working from instinct and intuition from what he calls the self. He mentions Homer praying to the muse, this idea to trust the soup, sort of letting go of that conscious control and putting faith in the source, that deeper wellspring of creativity.
Trust the soup. I like that. Okay, and then there's friends and family. That's a surprising one, isn't it? Usually they're seen as supportive.
Yeah, it's a tough one. They know us as we are, right? And they're often invested, maybe subconsciously, in keeping us that way. If you're striving for an unlived you, a second self, trying to become something new, they can inadvertently block that.
Not necessarily trying to hurt you, just keeping things stable.
Exactly. It's rarely malicious. It's just human nature often wanting stability, the familiar.
Okay, so we've met the dragons. But Pressfield says we're not alone. He introduces some unexpected allies. My favorite is stupidity. What's that about?
Yeah, it's a fantastic concept, isn't it? He argues that a certain amount of ignorance and arrogance are actually indispensable allies. You need to be clueless enough not to realize just how incredibly difficult your project will be,
Right.
and cocky enough to believe you can pull it off anyway against all odds. He points to figures like Lindbergh flying the Atlantic, or Steve Jobs, or Churchill. Any truly smart, rational person might look at the odds and just quit before starting.
So a bit of useful naivete protects you from the fear.
But precisely, it becomes a strategic advantage because it bypasses resistance's fear-mongering.
Don't think, act. I love this part. What are the other allies?
He lists several other powerful ones. First, stubbornness.
Not tenacity, stubbornness.
Yeah, he says it's less lofty than tenacity. It's just plain old mulishness, refusing to quit once you're committed.
Yeah.
Like a junkyard dog sinking its teeth in and not letting go.
Okay, got it.
Then blind faith. Belief in something you can't see, hear, touch, taste, or feel. He uses this exercise from Patricia Ryan Madsen. Imagine a box, open it, and there's always something inside. That unshakable faith that help will appear is crucial. Also passion. Fear kills passion, but he says when you conquer those fears, you tap into this boundless well of passion. It becomes your engine.
Makes sense.
Then assistance. This is the direct opposite force to resistance. We'll talk more about it, but it's the universe's benevolent side actively helping you.
Okay.
And finally, friends and family. Revisited. In the end, after the art, the inspiration, the money, they come and go. But the true friends and family, those we love and who love us, they remain. They are, as he says, for whom we do it, the ultimate reason.
That brings it full circle. Okay, so we've got our allies. Now, how do we actually begin? Pressfield says, start before you're ready. That feels so counterintuitive, especially if you like planning.
It absolutely does. But Pressfield is really direct. Don't prepare, begin. He hammers this point. The enemy isn't lack of preparation. It's our chattering brain, that monkey mind, producing excuses and reasons why we can't start now.
Right.
Good things happen when we just jump in, start before we feel ready. It generates courage and, he believes, it invites providence to step in.
Like that W.H. Murray quote about commitment.
Exactly. The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. Taking that first messy step is key.
And he even puts us on a research diet for this initial stage.
Yes, very strictly. You're allowed 3 books. That's it. No underlining, no highlighting. The goal is to let your unconscious do the work, not get bogged down in data overload. Research, he warns, can so easily become resistance in disguise. Just another way to avoid the actual work.
Okay, that's clear. Save the deep dives for later.
Right. Serious research comes later, not now.
He also gives 2 quick thoughts for starting. Stay primitive and swing for the seats. What does that mean for our projects?
Stay primitive means embracing the chaos, the instinct of creation, like a child playing or, his example, a mother giving birth. It's raw energy. It's better to be primitive than sophisticated, stupid than smart at this initial stage. Don't try to be clever.
Okay. And swing for the seats.
That's about thinking big. Don't start with small, safe ideas. Aim high. A home run swing that ends in a strikeout is way better, he argues, than a timid little bunt. Start from a place of power and ambition.
So how do we get this big primitive idea down? He talks about a single sheet of yellow foolscap.
Yeah, this is a great practical tool. His mentor, Norm Stahl, apparently told him God made a single sheet of foolscap exactly the right length for an entire novel outline.
Love that.
It's about boiling your whole project, story, business, whatever, down to one single page. It forces discipline. Stop overthinking, stop over-preparing. Just break it into 3 acts, beginning, middle, end. He uses examples like Da Vinci's Last Supper or the Vietnam Memorial Design, big ideas captured initially in a simple framework.
This raises an important question, though. If we're outlining, isn't that thinking? And he also said, don't think. How do those fit together?
Ah, great point. He makes a crucial distinction between real thoughts and just chatter. Chatter is the monkey mind, that random rambling noise in our heads. Often it's the well-meaning but limiting cautions from parents, teachers, society, telling you to conform or play it safe.
Right. The internal critic.
Exactly. True thoughts, the ones from your authentic self, are different. They have substance. When he says don't think, he means don't listen to the chatter. That's resistance trying to keep you boxed in.
Got it. And the trick to outlining effectively is to start at the end.
Precisely. Figure out your destination first. Where do you want this thing to go? What is your project fundamentally about? What's its theme? Knowing the theme reveals the end state. His example is Moby Dick. The theme is human will versus elemental malice. That dictates Ahab's character, his obsession, and his final fatal duel with the whale.
Ah, okay.
Once you know that end, you can build the beginning and middle to set it up perfectly. Work backwards.
Okay, so we've got our 3 acts on a page, our theme. We're armed with our mantras. Stay primitive, trust the soup, swing for the seats, be ready for resistance. But what happens once we're in the thick of it? Does it get easier?
Not exactly. This is where Pressfield pushes back hard against wishful thinking. He argues the universe is not indifferent. It is actively hostile.
Whoa, hostile. That sounds grim.
It does, but his point is that when we aim for a higher version of ourselves, when we try to create something meaningful, we uncork an equal and opposite reaction. That's resistance again. He says it's malign, tireless, inextinguishable. We can never fully eliminate it. It will never go away.
So it's a constant battle, not something that just fades once we start making progress.
Never. But we can outsmart it. We can enlist allies that are just as powerful. The key is to respect resistance. Don't underestimate it. Like Sigourney Weaver respecting the alien, or St. George the Dragon, know your enemy. Our job then becomes fill in the gaps on that foolscap outline, flesh it out.
Yes.
He suggests thinking in terms of 7 or 8 major sequences, like in a David Lean film. This applies whether it's a novel, a business plan, designing a house.
Right, breaking it down into manageable chunks. And now is when we do research. Now, but still carefully.
Yes, now you can research. But he still says stay on your diet. Don't let it take over prime working time. And always, always remember, it can still become resistance in disguise. Research is fun, it's seductive, that's its danger. It can feel like work, but might just be avoidance.
Okay, and for actually writing that first draft, he talks about covering the canvas and getting it done ASAP. No worrying about quality, just getting to the end.
Yeah, momentum is absolutely everything at this stage. You have to suspend all self-judgment.
Easier said than done?
Oh, definitely. But the inner critic is not allowed in the building during the first draft. It's not being graded. Just get something down, however flawed, however messy. The crazier the better, sometimes, if that's how it's coming out. Don't censor that weird voice that says something too crazy. Listen to it.
It's interesting how he mentions that ideas do not come linearly. We might get the middle before the end, or the end before the beginning. We need to be ready for that randomness.
Exactly. The creative process isn't neat and tidy. It's not rational. We have to capture ideas the minute they come to us because they're so fleeting. He suggests always having a notepad or a recorder handy. The actual process then breaks down into 2 distinct stages: action and reflection. And crucially, never do both at the same time.
Ah, okay. Separate them completely.
Completely. For the first draft, it's heavy on action, light on reflection. Spew, let her rip, as he says. Get it out.
This ties back to trust the soup and stay stupid, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Trusting the muse, the unconscious, that quantum soup. Playing like a child, not self-censoring. Believing the idea itself is smarter than we are. Our job is just to uncover what it wants to be. And here's another great nugget. When an idea pops up and your first thought is, whoa, that's too crazy, or that's totally off the wall, Pressfield says the answer is always yes. Never doubt the soup. Lean into the crazy.
I love that. Okay, so this raises a question. Is the universe always hostile, as he said earlier, or does it also help us out sometimes?
Good question. He clarifies. The universe is also actively benevolent. The opposite force of resistance is assistance.
Assistance, correct.
Your work in progress, fueled by your love, your passion, your intention, generates its own positive energy field. This field, he argues, attracts like-spirited entities, ideas, collaborators, help, synchronicities. It's the universal, immutable force of creative manifestation. It's the universe helping back.
So there's a push and a pull. Resistance pushes back, assistance pulls forward.
Exactly, like positive and negative pulls.
Right.
Which means the key is to keep working.
Like Stephen King working every single day, even holidays.
That commitment is crucial, especially when you're in the messy middle, what Seth Godin calls the thrashing stage. Momentum is everything. And ignore both the false negatives, this is total crap, and the false positives, oh my God, this is brilliant. Both are just forms of resistance trying to derail you. Just keep your head down and keep working.
Keep refining the theme. Keep asking, what's it about?
Yes, having those regular check-ins with yourself. What is this damn thing about? Keep refocusing on the core.
Eventually, though, even with momentum, even with assistance helping, Pressfield says we hit the wall. He describes it coming out of nowhere. Terror strikes. Confidence just collapses.
Yeah, that's the big one. The "you suck" voice comes roaring back. You freak out. You're poised right at the brink of a creative breakthrough, and suddenly you're paralyzed. It often happens maybe halfway or 2/3 through the project. You've invested so much time and energy, but you can't quite see the finish line yet.
And that's when you enter.
The belly of the beast. As he puts it, welcome to hell. You've rounded Cape Horn, the storm is raging, and there feels like no way forward and no way back.
Wow. Okay, so welcome to hell. This sounds like a really crucial section of the book.
Yeah.
He introduces 7 principles of resistance and 2 tests here in the belly of the beast.
This really is the core. Understanding this is how you navigate that hell. Principle 1. There is an enemy. Resistance is real. An intelligent, active, malign force working against us. It's not just in your head, not an illusion.
Okay, acknowledge it's real.
Principle 2. This enemy is implacable. It's deadly serious. It's not a joke. Its aim is to kill your potential, your genius.
Right.
Principle 3. This enemy is inside you. It's not external. It comes from us. Even if you were alone on Pluto, resistance would be right there with you.
So it's an internal battle.
Principle 4.
Yeah.
The enemy is inside you, but it is not you. This is such a critical distinction. You are not to blame for the voices of resistance. You just have it. Like you have a heartbeat. You still retain free will. You can choose how to respond.
That's a huge relief, actually. It means we don't have to identify with that negative voice.
Yeah.
It's not me thinking I suck. It's just resistance talking.
Precisely. And that directly leads to Principle 5. The real you must duel the resistance you. It's the knight versus the dragon, a life and death battle. There's no negotiation, no appeasement. You have to fight.
Okay, no talking your way out of it.
Principle 6. Resistance arises second. This is the absolute key to overcoming it. What comes first is the idea, the passion, the dream. That's the creative self's brave, generous, magnificent impulse. Resistance is just the ego's fearful response to that impulse. It's a shadow cast by the sun of your own creativity. The urge to create is love, eros. Resistance is fear.
Wow. That idea that resistance arises second, that it's just a response to our love for the work, that reframes the entire struggle. It's not the primary force. Our creativity is.
It really does. It puts you back in the driver's seat. And finally, Principle 7. The opposite of resistance is assistance. Just like in the myths, Theseus had Ariadne, Jason had Medea in our creative quests, we are aided by these universal forces of assistance. They're symbols for the unmanifested potential, powered by our love for the idea, our dream. Lindbergh's flight is his prime example, not just grit, but the dream itself attracting unseen help.
Okay, those 7 principles are incredibly clarifying. Then come resistance's 2 tests. These sound intense.
They are. They're unflinching self-assessments you face in the belly of the beast. Test number 1, how bad do you want it? There's only one correct answer. Totally committed. Anything less pretty bad I'd like to means you should probably walk away. It demands total commitment.
No half measures, okay.
Test number 2, why do you want it? The only correct answers here are for fun or beauty or because I have no choice. It's for the love of the work itself or because it's your calling.
And any other reason.
Any other reason, chasing babes, money, fame, ego, trying to prove someone wrong, lands you directly in what he calls the attitude adjustment chamber.
The attitude adjustment chamber. Wow. What happens in there?
It's where you're forced to shed all that baggage. The ego, the entitlement, the fear, the grievances. You have to purge all those lesser motives. Ideally, you emerge stripped down to only the pure essentials. Love for the work itself, the sheer will to finish, and the passion to serve the muse. Everything else has to go.
That's quite a purification process.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've hit the big crash. We're in hell. But then Pressfield says crashes are good.
Yeah.
How can that possibly be good?
It sounds crazy, right? But crashes mean we've failed. Yes, we've come up short. But they don't mean we are losers. They mean we have to grow. We're at a threshold of learning, of acquiring wisdom. A crash forces us to go back and figure out, okay, what went wrong? How do I solve the problem I created earlier? It's a mandatory learning opportunity.
So it's feedback, essentially. Painful feedback, but feedback.
Exactly. And related to that, he says, panic is good too. Which also feels awful. It does feel awful. But he argues it means you're about to cross a threshold. It's a sign you're actually succeeding, you're advancing in your craft, pushing your boundaries, like a child taking those first bold steps away from mom, panicking, but then venturing a little farther next time. It's an uncomfortable but necessary part of growth.
Okay, so in the belly of the beast, facing the crash and the panic, we go back to our allies. Stupidity, stubbornness, blind faith. And those 2 axioms, the problem is not us. The problem is the problem. And work the problem.
That's it, right there. Your project crashing is not a reflection of your fundamental worth as a human being. It's just a mistake in the work. A solvable technical problem. He gives a great example from his own work, fixing his novel The Profession. He realized the problem wasn't him, it was mechanical. He just needed to move the setting further into the future to create emotional distance. A technical fix.
And he even game plans how Melville might have fixed a crashed Moby Dick.
Yeah. By making Ahab even more monstrous, involving the crew more deeply, really doubling down on the theme, it shows that even the greats hit walls and have to figure out how to work the problem. It's part of the job.
We've worked through the problem. We've somehow escaped the belly of the beast. Now, how do we actually finish that final step, getting it out the door? Seth Godin calls it shipping.
Shipping is absolutely critical. It's declaring your work done, ready for the world. And Pressfield says it takes balls of steel, a real killer instinct. He tells this poignant story about a friend who had a brilliant finished novel just sitting in a drawer, paralyzed by the fear of sending it out, fear of rejection. You have to overcome that. You have to drive the stake through the monster's heart, the monster being resistance in its final form.
And the biggest dragon right at this finish line is often fear of success, isn't it?
Exactly that. It sounds paradoxical, but it's often true. He quotes Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
Precisely. Pressfield connects this directly to Hamlet's procrastination. Conscience does make cowards of us all. We fear stepping into our own power. He shares his own story, too, how his first professional writing job, King Kong Lives, was a huge flop, a total failure.
Yeah.
But he says the experience of actually shipping it, putting it out there, and being judged, even failing, was what made him a pro. It broke the fear barrier.
So when we ship, we face exposure. We open ourselves up to judgment, potential failure, maybe even humiliation. It's terrifying.
It absolutely is. He uses the analogy of a climber on a sheer rock face with nothing but thin air below her. Terrifying.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly empowering because it roots you in reality. It pulls you out of your own head, your self-delusions. You learn, you grow, you get real feedback.
I love that New Yorker cartoon he shares.
Yeah.
A person stands before two doors. One says heaven, the other says books about heaven. It really hits home. Are we that timid? Do we prefer the description over the experience?
It's such a perfect illustration. Fear of success, that final form of resistance, makes us choose the pale reflection, the safe distance, rather than the real, potentially messy, potentially glorious thing itself. But he gives us this powerful promise. Slay that dragon of shipping just once. Get one thing out the door, and it will never have the same power over you again. You've crossed a threshold. You've joined an elite fraternity, as he puts it. You know you can deliver.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? You've gone through the whole process. You've wrapped, you've shipped, you've brought your vessel safely into port. Pressfield congratulates us as we've created new life, done something only mothers and gods usually do.
Indeed. And whether you succeed or fail by external standards with this particular project doesn't matter as much as the fact that you saw it through. The act of confronting resistance head-on and shipping your work fundamentally transforms you. It's about being in the arena.
He closes with a really powerful, simple call to action. After you've celebrated your win, whatever it looks like, start again. Before you're ready, get back to work on the next project. Don't rest on your laurels.
And that final thought he leaves us with, tying back to that Van Gogh painting, Man with Hoe, on the book's cover. Blessed is he who has found his work. If you can do it once, you can do it again. The work is always there waiting, and so is resistance. But now, you know how to fight.
So what's your next project? What's the work calling to you? And how will you face resistance head on this time? What's that thing you've been putting off that maybe now you feel compelled to just start before you're ready?